Well, it seems to me that the nature of the ultimate revolution with which we are now faced is precisely this, that we are in process of developing a whole series of techniques which will enable the controlling oligarchy to get people actually to love their servitude. This is seems to me the ultimate in malevolent revolution, shall we say.
Yes, people. How are we doing? The Great Reset, most of us know all about it. Nefarious as anything. There's an element, a massive element of doublespeak to this agenda, in my opinion. And it amounts to nothing more than what I would regard as gaslighting. Pure and simple gaslighting. I looked at this video and not only was the gaslighting, which I wasn't buying any of, I also looked at the comment section. So instead of the gaslighting taking effect with me and giving me low vibrations, knowing that something nefarious is on its way over the horizon, it gave me a lot of solace looking the amount of thumbs down, the amount of people in solidarity that truly want to live and are fighting back against these gaslighting sons of, yeah? It was beautiful to watch. This is a little gaslighting promo video that they've put up. So I'm going to let it air, let it view, might interject, might not. What I really want to do is after this, let's see what other people thought. Because this is actually going out on the World Economic Forum's own YouTube page, which do have a lot of subscribers. But what you will discover is that them subscribers ain't like us to this gaslighting video. Quite the contrary. So let's get through this and see what they're trying to say. Gaslight, neon light, spotlight.
The pandemic has radically changed the world as we know it, and the actions we take today as we work to recover will define our generation.
Now is the time to think what history would say about this crisis.
2020 has been challenging on a lot of levels, as economic, environmental, and societal frailties have been laid bare. But it's also proved that when we need to, we can act rapidly and restructure our lives.
The recovery from the pandemic is an opportunity. We can see rays of hope in the form of a vaccine, but there is no vaccine for the planet. Nature needs a bailout.
I love that when they conflate narratives. So clearly, at the beginning of this reset, Klaus, yeah, Dr. No, yeah, the villain in it all, he was the one that proclaimed that there needs to be a social contract taken out with the new generation in terms of nature. That means that this bitch-ass punk wants to gaslight your kids to make them think that they are ruining the planet and they need to work with the World Economic Forum and the Davos and all the freaking stakeholders in order to bring in this nefarious agenda. Gaslight.
You don't want to go back to the status quo that you had before simply because it was the status quo that got us here.
With everything falling apart, we can reshape the world in ways we couldn't before. Ways that better address so many of the challenges we face. And that's why so many are calling for a great reset. A great reset? That sounds more like buzzword bingo masking some nefarious plan for world domination.
Oh, it does. Bleeding hell, you've just spelled it out in the video there, right? Like and subscribe, guys. I'm going home now. Job done. She's just spelled it out.
Hands up. This kind of slogan hasn't gone down well. But all we really want to say is that we all have an opportunity to build a better world. And it's not surprising that people who've been disenfranchised by a broken system and pushed even further by the pandemic will suspect global leaders of conspiracy.
Do you reckon? What about all the polarization? What about the media? Lying, not holding people accountable when things happen in this world, that then breeds confidence within people that are slaves to this system. So all we're realizing that really these guys are trying to push for an oligarchical system. Simple as that. The working class, the proletariat have got onto it and they've realized The proletariat, for me, interpret this as the final push to a control mechanism that will stop you being a human being, which will only serve the oligarchs and the stakeholders. Gaslight, spotlight. Ta.
But the world's not that simple. Every one of us has differing priorities, values, and ideas. That's part of why solutions are so hard to come by, and why we all need to be involved in the decision making. Because whether it's politicians, CEOs, academics, activists, or you, we're all about getting people together, even those you may not like, to sit down at the table and develop solutions that work for all of us. But
we need enormous trust between the private sector and the public sector for this to actually work. That trust is hard to come by.
Oh, wow, he's getting it. Yeah, it's hard to come by when the proletariat are being shafted, yeah, with no lube on. Then do you think that trust is going to diminish? Gaslight, spotlight. Ta.
it's time for people to work together, listen to each other, and build this trust so we can move towards a better world. And we really need one. Because while the pandemic affects us all, it's clear it affects some more than others.
The first people who are hit are the people at the front, those who are vulnerable. It is those on the front line who take it first, and that is simply unacceptable.
See, at the start of 2020, 1% of the world's population owned 44% of the wealth. And since the start of the pandemic, billionaires have increased theirs by more than 25%, whilst 150 million people fell back into extreme poverty.
Right, well, them figures may be accurate, and they are alarming in a society that's supposed to have transcended poverty. It's only getting more and more stark. We all know that. We're the bottom of the frigging run. The irony is that these elite billionaires are the ones proclaiming that your life has to change in order to bring that equilibrium. Why don't they release a couple of zeros from their bank account? And there you go. The problem is solved. Gaslight.
And with climate change set to dwarf the damage caused by the pandemic, the message from 2020 should be abundantly clear.
Capitalism, as we know it, is dead.
In many ways, capitalism is horrible because it creates winners and losers. But at the same time, you do want that. We have to strive towards something, and people can work themselves from absolutely jack shit into something. They call it rags to riches. So that is capitalism for you. You probably need a little bit of socialism within the system in order to help society, help the people who have not. I get that. But don't forget, these guys at the top have creamed capitalism, haven't they? They've extracted wealth like you would not believe. So, in other words, could we argue that these financiers, these oligarchical systems, these stakeholders have extracted that much money out of capitalism now? That capitalism has basically lost its breath. So in order for them to keep going, maybe an oligarchical system may suit them. Less democracy, more control. Gaslight, spotlight.
This obsession that we have had with maximizing profits for shareholders alone has led to incredible inequality and a planetary emergency.
But no one can do this alone, and top-down approaches won't get us anywhere, because everything we've learned in our work has shown us that diverse voices lead to better results. And it's for these reasons that the forum talks about something called stakeholder capitalism, which would shift businesses away from just profit. Because
if we want to change where the focus of our recovery will go, then we need a new dashboard for the new economy. And that needs to encompass people, planet, prosperity, and institutions.
I wonder how much her house is worth. Just asking. Spotlight.
giving people a real stake in the economy and putting well-being before growth.
Putting well-being before growth. Do you want to tell that to the raggedy-headed Muppet and Mr. Wancock, who's depressed the nation? Ask Denise Welsh. Ask her, yeah? what this mainstream media and what this government has done to this country, as well as what various other governments in various other countries have done to their population. Depressed the bleeding bejesus out of them, yeah? Made anxiety an actual conversation that most people can relate to now. Made depression something that is just an average thing that happens probably 2-3 times a week with people. So there's a lot of reasons why these guys know exactly what they're doing. And as you will see with this comment section, they ain't going to please everyone with this.
In the right place at the right time.
We must rebuild our relationship with nature for the survival of the peoples and our planet.
We have a window of time which is closing, and we need everybody who cares to get together and find solutions now.
It's the people who have great ideas and who share them with others. They're the ones who are shaping the future. So if you want to be a part of the change, then tune in, turn on, and get involved. Follow the Davos agenda right here, online, on YouTube.
Doesn't that sound brilliant, eh? Let's all get into that. Let's all adopt into that nefarious program, because it really does sound like we're all going to be prosperous under a new system that is controlled by stakeholders. What the hell? Never mind community, never mind the individual. Stakeholders. That's a posh word for oligarchs. I'm sure it is.
Well, it seems to me that the nature of the ultimate revolution with which we are now faced is precisely this, that we are in process of developing a whole series of techniques which will enable the controlling oligarchy to get people actually to love their servitude. This is seems to me the ultimate in malevolent revolution, shall we say.
The funny thing is, as you can imagine, yeah, a lot of people viewed this, and quite rightly so. It affects everyone, man, woman, and child on this planet. So it'd be nice to give it a view, if you could be asked. And you look at it, it's had 305,000 at the point I recorded this, 305,567 views. It was out on the 25th of January. It's had 2K thumbs up. Oof. And you know what? 25k thumbs down. We all know, as anyone who's a content creator who's watching this now, you don't always get everyone who to thumb up or thumb down. Some people just come in and out, not leave a comment, not do anything, and fair enough to do what they do. I've done it myself in the past. What you do tend to get, if you're an average decent YouTuber, your ratio to thumbs up to thumbs down should be pretty stark, in a sense that you should be getting a hell of a lot more thumbs up than you do down. You can't negate the fact that you're going to get thumbs down for all the different reasons, but you will be getting more thumbs up. Should be. If you're not, then get off fucking YouTube, pardon my French, right? So this obviously went down like a lead brick, didn't it? Look at that, 7,268 comments. So I'm going to pick, just going to have a look through this top one here. Look at this, a week ago. We know they are lying. They know they are lying. They know, we know they are lying. We know, they know, we know they are lying. But they are still lying. Our survey said, this message is so wrong and disturbing. I give this a big no. Our survey said, this is the scariest thing I have seen in my entire life. Our survey said, I came here to see the like/dislike ratio. I was not disappointed. Our survey said, notice their forum of trusted people is a panel full of people nobody trusts. Our survey said, this world dictatorship will fail. People, wake the heff up. Our survey said, you guys ain't fooling anybody. Our survey said, this is terrifying. No one wants a reset or your version of a better world. Our survey said, this is the most satanic energy stuff I've ever seen. Our survey said, the only one that needs a reset are the elites. We don't want you. We want freedom. Our survey said so many are calling for a great reset. No, the only people calling for a great reset are a bunch of hyper-rich narcissists. Our survey said, I don't want to live in a world that these people want to create. So arrogant about it, horrifying. These people need to be stopped. Who are they to decide how everyone should live? Our survey said, I think the likes speak for themselves. Everyone hates these ideas. Our survey said, what a terrifying video. These are all wrong people in the wrong place at the wrong time. Dystopia 1984, Hunger Games, thank you for nightmare fuel, WEF. Our survey said, Billionaire Club telling the public you'll own nothing and be happy doesn't build trust. And for the bully special prize, the level of gaslighting in this video is monumental. So there you have it. There you have it. So you can see it's not happening. If I had this ratio, I would give up YouTube. I would seriously would. These guys, that is the only solace I've got in this world, that for whatever they try to push, we have got a consortium of people that are pushing back. So however you feel under a certain curtailment sat in your house, please be uplifted in the knowledge that people do not want this. There is a worldwide kickback. This is Red Pill Phil. Love you all, even the pissing haters.
Monsters exist, but they are far too few in number to be truly dangerous. The most dangerous monsters are ordinary men and women, ready to believe and obey without asking questions.